Welcome to Uncharted and Unfiltered, the journey back to you. I am Cynthia Jamieson, your host, and this is where we break free from the noise and dive deep into what truly matters you. If you're tired of the shoulds, the expectations, and the pressures to fit into a mold that doesn't serve you, you're in the right place. This isn't a podcast about easy answers or sugar-coated advice. This is your invitation to reclaim your path, embrace the unknown, and become the bold, unapologetic version of yourself that's been waiting to show up. It's time to get unfiltered. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to Uncharted and Unfiltered, the journey back to you. Formerly the Who Are You to Lead Anyway podcast. And I am Cynthia Jamieson, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. So whether this is your first time listening or you've been on this journey with me for a while, I want to say thank you and acknowledge the intentional space that you have carved out for yourself today. It's not easy in this fast-paced world to stop, to take a breath, and to reflect. But you're here, and that is a beautiful choice. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what is Uncharted and Unfiltered all about, because you might be wondering why the name change. And the truth is we're shifting the lens a bit, diving deeper, unafraid to explore the unknown and look at life's messiness, if you will, without filters. Our mission here is simple: to help you reconnect with the most powerful version of yourself, to uncover what is real, your truth, and to give you the tools and the support to move through life with clarity, confidence, and authenticity. So whether you're navigating career shifts, personal growth, or any of life's unexpected twists and turns, Uncharted and Unfiltered is all about giving you the space to find your true center, no matter what is going on around you. It is the journey back to you. It's real, it's raw, and it's unfiltered. So I want to talk to you today about finding your center, navigating that pathway to your own inner calm. So let's take a pause for a second. Have you ever felt like everything around you is spinning and you're just trying to keep up? I know I have. I have been there, and today I want to share how I found my way back to myself in that chaos. Now, last week we explored the idea of unbecoming, which is really this idea of letting go of all of the layers that no longer serve us. And this week we're diving into something that can anchor us throughout it all, finding your center. So what does it actually feel like to be centered? How do you return to that grounded, calm place when life is pulling you in 100 different directions? Now, I want to just pause for a moment because this episode was sparked by a passage that I read from Melody Beattie's Journey to the Heart, specifically an excerpt called Finding Your Center. Let me share it with you. Quiet, relaxed, feeling right about what you're doing, on track, in harmony, at peace, no turbulent emotions racing through you, no disorganized thoughts clamoring in your head. Your body feels aligned and you feel connected to it. What you do and say comes from your center. It feels right and honest. It feels like you, and you feel connected to your deepest self. That is so beautiful. Does that resonate with you? When I read that, it felt like a lightning bolt. So often I notice that I drift away from this state, and it's so easy to forget how much I crave that kind of calm, especially when life gets overwhelming. But here's the truth. That center is still there, always, and you can tap into it anytime. So how do we get back to that peaceful place, that feeling of being grounded? So I want to invite you to picture this moment. Close your eyes for a second. If you're driving, of course, don't do that. Keep your eyes on the road. But if you're not driving, I want you to imagine standing in the middle of a bustling city or a mall, an airport perhaps, anywhere where there are crowds everywhere. People are rushing by. The noise is never stopping. It is so easy to get lost in that, right? Now picture yourself finding a nearby park. You sit on the bench. You close your eyes. You let the sun warm your face. The chaos around you fades. And in that moment, it's just you. You breathe deeply. You feel the earth beneath your feet, and you find this moment of peace. That's what finding your center feels like. It's a sanctuary amidst the storm, a calm place within you, no matter how chaotic things seem or are around you. This is your personal GPS to calm. You could think of your center as that internal GPS, because we all have moments when we feel lost or we feel overwhelmed, when the world feels like it's moving way too fast. But your center is that constant grounding point. It's like the "you are here" marker on a map in the mall, in the woods, the old fashioned kind of map. Well, I guess the old fashioned kind, when you open it up, it doesn't really say "you are here," but you put your finger where you are. And so the challenge for us is knowing how to get back to this center, when life starts pulling you off track. And I have been there. In fact, I'm there right now. My husband and I recently sold our home. And for the first time in years, we don't have a fixed address to return to yet. That word "yet" is very, very important when you've sold your home. It's less than 30 days to be out of our home, and it's a very strange, unsettling feeling, I can tell you. I feel like this buzz of uncertainty creeping within, and it's quite heavy. And it comes and visits me with all sorts of questions like, what's next? Where do we go from here? Are you sure this is a good idea? And that's when I turned to Beatty's words. I made a conscious choice to find my center, to stay grounded even without a fixed home. It was a reminder that my center is not tied to a physical space. It's an internal place that I can always return to. So I want to share a couple of stories with you. Now, one of my clients, a senior leader, has described their work life recently like being a bottle tossed out of the boat into the stormy sea. They feel like this because they're flooded with emails, with meetings, with constant demands, deadlines, resourcing constraints, all of those things. And I'm very confident that you can relate with all of that to some degree. Sometimes it just feels like you're reacting rather than truly living and leading the life that you want to be living and leading. And it reminds me of a time in my life back in 2012 when I felt completely disconnected from everything: myself, my work, my world. Truly, I was going through a separation and subsequent divorce, and it felt like everything I had once believed in had crumbled. The foundation of my very life had been shaken to its core, and I found myself questioning everything, just like I am this week. Who was I anymore? What did I want? Where was I going? What was important to me? This was an overwhelming sense for me of being lost. Like I was adrift at sea, just like my client, without a compass, completely disconnected, not just from my relationships, but from the person that I had always thought that I was. I had never lived alone before. In my entire life, true story, I had never had to rely solely on myself to navigate the day to day. And suddenly it was just me. There was no one else to share the load. There was no one else to lean on. It was like learning how to breathe all over again, learning how to walk for the first time. And I remember one winter evening, the weight of it all hit me in a way that I will truly never forget. It was one of those days when everything seems to pile on at once. I'm sure you've been there and had your own days like this. I had worked long hours, and then I had to run some errands. I had to get some groceries. I had to get gas. I had to get windshield washer fluid, and I had to get things ready for the next day. I was completely drained, but I kept pushing through, telling myself, I've got this. And then I arrived at my new condo, and as I stepped out of the car, the reality of everything just slammed into me. In front of me was a mountain of snow. There were two sets of stairs. Like you go up one set of stairs, and there was a bit of a path, stair step, and then there was another set of stairs. So there was a mountain of snow that, of course, needed to be shoveled. So I can laugh now. Let me tell you, I was not laughing then. I stood there for a moment, and I was overwhelmed by the enormity of all of it. This was the moment that I couldn't avoid anymore. The truth that I was completely on my own. No one else was there to share the load. There was no more relying on someone else. It was up to me entirely. The whole thing. The whole thing was mine to carry. And so I stood there, frozen, exhausted, emotionally raw, tears running down my face, and feeling the full weight of everything. Now, it took me a few moments to gather myself to even get out of the car, because quite frankly, I just wanted to stay inside the car and I wanted to hide from all of it. But I knew that I couldn't. I had to face it. So slowly, I pulled myself together and I got started. And as painful as and disorienting as that moment was, it turned out to be one of the most pivotal moments of my life. I can still remember the coat I was wearing. So looking back with the clarity that hindsight offers to me, I can see that this period of disconnection was actually the start of a deeper reconnection with and to myself. It was an invitation to discover who I truly was beyond everything that I had known before. And that moment marked the beginning of a new kind of connection, not just with the people around me, but with myself. I had to learn how to be my own source of support, of my own source of love, my own source of care, to be able to take full responsibility for my own happiness. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times, truly. And one of the most painful periods of my life, but also the one that planted the seeds of so much beautiful strength and resilience and self sufficiency. And as hard as it was, I am so super grateful for it. I am thankful for the person that I became because of it. Because that chapter of my life led me to where I am today, rooted in such a deeper sense of self awareness and personal growth and who I am and what matters to me. And I wouldn't be here today without that incredibly tough chapter. And for that, I will always be deeply grateful. So now I want to walk you through how you can find your center. It's a very practical exercise. Now that you've gotten some context, wherever you are, I invite you to pause for a moment and try just a small exercise. Doesn't matter if you're sitting at your desk, if you're walking outside, if you're in the car, whatever it is, this is available to you. Just take a deep breath in and hold it for a moment. And then slowly exhale. And as you let the air out, just let the air and let the tension leave you. Now do it one more time. A deep breath in. The very first thing that we arrived in this world with was our very first breath. And it will be a constant reminder of the life force that you have within you. And with every inhale, you can bring in everything beautiful. And with every exhale, you can let go of what no longer serves you. And so a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Now I want to invite you to think back to a time when you felt completely at ease. Perhaps it was a quiet morning coffee. Perhaps it was the sound of the waves crashing on the shore. Perhaps it was a laugh. Share with a friend or a family or someone you love. Whatever that moment is, visualize that moment. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? That is your center. That is a place that you can return to anytime, whether you are in a storm or just looking for a quiet moment of peace. Now, what I learned that snowy night and in many other moments like it, including a few nights this week, is that finding our center doesn't always happen when life is calm. In fact, it often happens in the midst of the storm, in the eye of the storm, in the moments when we feel like we can't go on anymore. That's when we must remember that we have the power to pause and reconnect. Just like I had to shovel that snow and face the fact that I was now fully responsible for my own life, we all have moments where we need to pause, breathe, and remember our inner strength. So I invite you to Make this a habit for yourself because getting centered is not a one-time event. It is like building a muscle. It's like going to the gym. The more you do it, the easier it gets. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to lift the weight. And you can begin by carving out small moments throughout your day. Before jumping into the meeting, pause for a breath. This works with so many of my clients. And that's something that you always have available to you. It doesn't matter whether you're in a boardroom full of executives or if you're in the bathroom, you always have that available to you. When you're stuck in traffic, and your mind starts racing, use it as a cue to reconnect with that calm, centered place within you. Now, in the early days of my coaching practice, I often felt unanchored, like I was free falling, if you will, into a new world without a safety net, of course, because I had never run my own business before. I had never been responsible for all of those things to that degree before. So I began at that time incorporating mindful pauses into my routine, just 2 minutes, 3 times a day. And it became my best reset button. And now I teach my clients that. And even when life gets chaotic, and it does, I have that tool to ground me. And you do too. So I invite you to think for a moment, what is something in your life that feels like a mountain right now? Perhaps it's a project at work, perhaps it's a relationship, or perhaps it's the weight of everything piling up. But as you take another deep breath in, remember that you don't have to face this mountain alone. You truly don't. Your center is always there to guide you. You have gotten through so much already. So I want to give you a call to action. And there's a caveat because the key is not trying to fix everything at once. You don't need to solve everything today. But when you remember your center, whether it's through a breath, a quiet moment, or simply acknowledging that you are capable, you begin to reclaim your power. And now, as I work through that mountain of snow, one shovel at a time, I found myself reconnecting to my strength, to the resilience that I didn't know that I had, and so can you. Slow down, find your breath, and let go of the pressure to do it all at once. Sometimes it's enough to just take the first step. So as you go through your day today, I invite you to pay attention to the moments when you feel uncentered, when your mind is racing or stress starts to build or bubble up. Just stop, take a breath, picture that peaceful scene that you imagined earlier, and let yourself reconnect with your center. Let it guide you back to your calm. Remember, finding your center is about creating an internal home, a place where you can always return to, no matter what is happening around you. This is your secret weapon in a world that's constantly pulling you in a million directions. So in close, before you go, take one last moment with me. Think about your center. If you could reconnect with one part of yourself today, what would that be? And what is one small thing that you can do right now to feel more grounded? With that, I want to say thank you for joining me today on Uncharted and Unfiltered. I hope this episode gives you the tools to find your center and stay anchored in your calm. Again, even when the world feels chaotic, the world is just going to keep on being the world. And if you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend who could use this little reminder to return to their center. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode, no matter what we call it. And until next time, stay grounded and remember, your center is always within you. You just have to remember to breathe. I hope that you're walking away feeling more aligned with your true self, more confident in the choices ahead, and ready to leave the safe path behind, knowing you've got everything you need within. Remember, the journey to you isn't about finding one perfect direction. It's about trusting yourself enough to explore all of it. If you're ready to dive deeper, join me for the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss the next step on your path. I invite you to join my mailing mailing list at www.cynthiajamisoncoach.ca, where we'll deepen our relationship and you can claim your copy of Your Inner Compass, a guide to charting your course to authenticity. Until next time, stay unfiltered, stay true, and most importantly, stay you.